So, as a guy who vehemently defends all of his friends, sometimes to a fault, there has been someone who I have been defending quite a bit as of late by the name of Asmongold. Yeah, I really believe in my friends. There's many people who I've defended in the past who were current friends or maybe past friends. Maybe I don't like them anymore, but when you are my friend, I try to have your back no matter what, because I understand how scary it is to be in these situations by yourself. Whether it was Ms. Kiff or Emmy or Rich Campbell or Sear or Mr. Pokey or Saint Tontas or Glaive Keo or Ethan, even Exco Solo, even MTash, Enviasi at a point I defended. No matter who these people are who I try to come in defense towards, because when I see someone being fucked over by something that I don't believe they did or getting accused of something that I don't think they could do, I will always be there for you 100% because I know how scary it is to deal with this shit alone as a guy who's had to deal with a lot of bullshit alone. But one thing I never try to do is defend someone when I think that they're in the wrong. So I found a video because this is something that I've always wondered. And the video is called Why People Hate Asmongold. Asmongold is a content creator who I watched back when I was in college, who I met for the first time maybe 3 years ago. What else? Oh yeah, I did a podcast with him for 2 years. I was in a video game org with him for 3 years. And since leaving that org and leaving that podcast, we're still on great terms, and it makes me very happy. But one thing I always ask myself is, why do people hate Asmongold so much? I truly don't understand it. I've really tried to rationalize it, and people always tell me that he's just as bad as Hasanabi, and I'm just like, no, he's fucking not. They're not even remotely comparable, and I think this parallel is so disingenuous, it's insane. So I want to go into this video open-minded, and I want to see how this actually goes and maybe get to a deeper understanding of why people say this and maybe correct some misinformation or provide some extra context on thinking and just give my spin on this video. So let's see what's going on here.
I find it quite strange how a lot of people on the internet just jump to conclusions without any hint of evidence.
Of course.
It's sad to see how critical thinking seems almost endangered among the chronically online. A lot of people just...
Guys, what does fascist mean? Whatever you want it to mean, and you throw it on anybody you don't like. It's really that easy, because the Nazis were fascists, which means if I disagree with you, you are a Nazi. Everybody knows it.
Follow trends of hatred without actually taking the time to find evidence to back up their accusations. Just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't make it true. We've seen this happen with a lot of public figures, especially in recent years. A good example would be J.K. Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate her do so simply because others do.
Oh, we're talking about J.K. Rowling? This is going to be a great video. I actually cannot wait. Oh, this is going to be a good video, isn't it? I try to approach everything with skepticism these days and question everything I'm ever presented with if it does not have hard factual proof. That is how you will stop being deceived in this life, and I do believe that we're going to see a uptick in informed viewers who can critically think that will prevent cancel culture from existing ever again, but it's going to take a couple more years.
Because it's become a popular trend. I remember watching a video on critical thinking by a teacher, Warren Smith. In this video, Warren challenges a student of his to actually think for themselves on this exact topic. All he did was encourage his students to broaden his perspective and look into the situation himself, using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigoted, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? When you say bigoted opinions.
She has.
So I guess now that we're looking at it like, oh, there's not much difference between me or her. Do you think it's fair that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now, retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase it?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Warren Smith then apparently got fired from his teaching job for encouraging critical thinking.
Jesus!
It happened yesterday. I was fired from my full-time teaching position.
This decline in critical thinking is one of the many reasons I believe a lot of people dislike Asmongold. In certain online spaces, especially among specific communities, there's a lot of hate towards him that is unwarranted and simply built on lies. The more I looked into this, the weirder this echo chamber became.
Asmongold is just like someone who makes a living off stealing from other people.
He's like, you're a racist motherfucker.
Asmongold is a fascist. He's just like actually one of the purest examples of the moderate wing of fascism thing. Also, Asmongold's editor is a Nazi.
So Adolf Jr. over here.
This is the fake laugh he does, and I don't respect him at all. I don't know, maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really buy this and think it's funny.
He's racist.
Dude, Poke's fall off needs to be studied. It is insane how someone who is such a funny, goofy guy can harbor so many mental illnesses and schizo out on so many fucking streamers nonstop. It is actually so bad, guys. It is so bad. And it's all just drugs. And we know it's all just drugs. He did it to himself? I know. I know.
In my research for this video, I genuinely tried to find actual substantial reasons for the hate outside of the lies. I mean,
oh, this is great. This was made 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Okay, this is great. This is perfectly timed with pretty much everything. You know, a guy actually made a video like this for me forever ago on everything I've ever been accused of, every issue that I've ever had with any content creator. And he found out that I was in the right for every single one of them. It's a video. It's the one where it's like I'm a blue Oni in the thumbnail. I'm not sure if you guys know. There's actually been a couple of these. So I've never seen somebody do this for Asmongold. So this is very, very, very cool. This is great. Okay, this is exactly what I was looking for. So because maybe he's off base here. Let's go into everything here.
Advocates of trying to see both sides' perspectives on any topic. So I found quite a few videos on YouTube that I'd like to unpack and try to understand why there is so much hate against Asmongold.
If you guys find
First off, by what I've seen, a lot of the hate against Asmongold seems to have stemmed from other YouTubers' disdain for React content.
We'll
in my research, I stumbled across a video titled "Asmongold is bad. Why I don't like Asmongold" video.
Yeah, they're mad because people actually give a fuck about his opinion, and that's why they hate all reactors, because they wish that people gave a fuck about their genuine reaction, and it makes them upset that they can't do it. There's nothing wrong with React content. There's not. It's been scientifically proven to not damage other channels unless there is one way where you can damage other channels, which is if you consistently react to another channel every single time that they upload, and you upload it within 24 hours of them uploading that, then yes, that will fuck them. But if you don't do that, which nobody fucking does that, if you don't do that, then it actually enhances the other channels dramatically. So React content is actually one of the best things you can do for a platform, especially for discoverability of smaller content creators.
Videos by a channel called Savior 3.0. In this video, we hear the usual rant about React content having a negative impact on other channels and YouTube as a platform.
He gets the benefit from all of this unpaid labor. He gets the benefit from all of this hard work from other content creators, but he doesn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting.
This YouTuber then played an excerpt from a large and actually pretty popular channel called Dog Viper AU, where he spoke in depth about why React content is bad for channels and the platform as a whole, using Asmongold as the primary example.
Over the last few months, I've learned that very few people seem to understand why React content is harmful. React content is a system of exploitation that siphons an incalculable amount of money and exposure away from the hardworking into the pockets of the incredibly lazy.
I have been thanked relentlessly by almost every single person I've ever reacted to, even just the other day. Look at this shit. This made my day. Nobody gave me a shout, or this guy would give me a shout out. I made it on the radical left. Nobody's ever this supportive and kind about my work and reaction video. This is truly a blessing, right? Like I get shit like this every single fucking day. These people are just mad because they don't get how it actually fucking works. I would actually challenge anybody. If you think React content is parasitic for the platform, let's have a discussion for it on stream. You're just wrong. You don't get how it works. Many studies of this have been done. Analytics have been pulled up. The data proves completely otherwise. React content is great for the fucking platform as long as you do it 24 hours after they post and you don't react to anything that people request you to not react to. It's really that simple.
Viper had some decent points and clearly did a lot of research into this, but somehow in this whole video he missed what I believe is the most important aspect of React content. I'll actually read a comment that I found.
Yeah, another great example of background NPC. Asmon reacted to background NPC and got them to 70,000 subscribers in 2 days. I reacted to them and I got them to 85,000 subscribers in like a fucking day. And then they just naturally grew to 100K after that. And now they're at 150K. Reacts can make a lot of channels. The only way to destroy a channel is if you react to every single video.
Watching this video because I think it best describes the problem with this argument.
That happens
I don't
all the
agree with
time.
the idea
That's
that
not an
reaction
exception.
content
That's
is
the
stealing.
rule.
When watching someone like Asmongold, it's not about the original video content itself, but rather about his personal take and commentary. People watch him because they want to hear his thoughts, see his reactions, and experience his unique perspective.
Yep.
His popularity is built on his personality and how he engages with the content, not just the content itself. Even if he simply talked about the videos without showing them, his audience will still tune in because they're following him and his reactions, not just the video being reacted to.
Yep.
Reaction content requires charisma, personal insight, and the ability to entertain, which is what draws viewers in. This is nearly a perfect comment in the context of Asmongold, but the only thing that is disputable is that not all React content is actually done in good faith.
Absolutely.
Some of it is blatant stealing. The Ackman has a fantastic video
100%.
titled "The Dark Side of React Content."
Oh no, absolutely. Not all reactors are the same. I will be real. If you don't extend the video by at least 50%, you really didn't add that much. Now, what I do is I'll play the video 25% faster and I'll still double the length of the fucking video, right? Because I'm a fucking yapper. There's a certain way to do it. And people watch this shit because, well, to be honest, the people who enjoy React content, depending on who they watch, are more so people who want to actively engage with it and bounce off ideas on how the streamer feels and how they feel. So usually streamer watchers. It's just a lot more nicer to have a more active way to engage with the thought process of the content creator and the streamer, the other party, and yourself. It's a very good thing to watch.
That I completely recommend on this subject. In fact, in his video, he even...
Versus Hassan, who pulls up a video to react to and then walks away and lets the chair react.
Mentions how Asmongold reacting to one of his videos, yes, affected its viewership negatively, but how he spoke to Asmongold and Asmon agreed to watch his videos a few days after release in the future.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least 4 days for it to be pushed in the algorithm naturally. And that's what Asmon and I talked about and agreed on after this happened.
The Ackman then went on to talk about the positive impact reactors like Asmongold have had.
I will say, 24 hours, 96 hours, that's up for your discretion. But if you are a content creator and you do label your content as like, don't react to this within this amount of time or that amount of time, everybody will also listen. I had this exact same thing come up with More Pegasus. I was reacting to too many of his videos. He said, hey, maybe just react to like one of every 3 and wait 24 hours. I said, absolutely. 100%. It's really easy to just communicate. More eyes is always more eyes. And if you have to also put their YouTube link at the very, very, very top. That helps tremendously.
Add on his channel.
Some might say, but Actman, he's stealing views from you. Those views belong to you.
No.
Maybe they do. I can't
They
say
don't.
for certain, but what I can say is a lot of people who are subscribed to my channel wouldn't be subscribed if Asmongold never made these videos.
True.
Although I agree with aspects of Dark Viper AU's video, there's something he says here at 15 minutes and 5 seconds that I completely disagree with.
I hope by the end of this video that you will come to understand why this exposure and money would either entirely or almost entirely have gone to other content creators if not for Asmongold's interference.
Cap.
Not just the people that Asmongold steals labor from, but everyone in the wider market.
You could easily
Cap.
say the same thing about every single channel on YouTube,
So
including
bullshit.
Dark Viper AU. Dark Viper has 1.5 billion views that could have otherwise gone somewhere else if he didn't have his channel.
Bottom line, a React video has the same value proposition as going to a movie with a friend. Seeing and discussing a movie with a friend can be more enjoyable than seeing it alone, but you would never say that the friend who took you to the movie should get a cut of the movie's proceeds for sitting in the chair and giving you his opinion on it.
This for me is a gross oversimplification of what is
what a
really happening.
stupid
I would say
example.
that React content is more likened to movie commentary. People
Jesus.
choose to watch Asmongold or other React creators simply because they are entertaining. Dark Viper AU's video, while incredibly well made, also lacks a very basic understanding. People prefer to watch React content over original videos.
That is the really scary thing about people who can make really good videos. They can pretty much convince you of any like misconception because it was edited well. And it's very scary when people do that. When a very well-made video is made about you and it's just full of misinformation and misconceptions, oh, it's horrifying.
Behind every single view is a real person living their real life by choosing how they spend their time. The argument that Asmongold interferes with other people's ability to make money is a massive over-exaggeration. This video clumps people who watch Asmongold as this collective hive mind that doesn't really think for itself. I would consider myself an Asmongold enjoyer, and I have absolutely nothing to do with anyone else who watches Asmongold's videos. I just choose what I want to do with my time as a casual guy going about my life.
What you do not see is every time any reaction video appears where your video would have otherwise appeared. Any time where one of your videos would have got an impression, except it then went to a reaction video. You also do not see every time a reaction video is chosen by a viewer instead of one of your videos.
Now, I am not saying what Dark Viper is arguing is entirely untrue. There are people who would have watched some of these videos without first having seen them through Asmongold, but there's absolutely no way of knowing this, especially to what extent. If it were as simple as Dark Viper AU puts it, then I don't think React channels are the real issue anyway. Consumers choose how they want to spend their time, and that's ultimately what drives viewership. Dark Viper
Sure, and I can see it's like, oh, it's unfair that they're watching the react to this rather than the original video, but it's like, okay, you can get mad, but like, what are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not these reactors' fault that people want to watch the video with their reaction. I mean, I'll be real. I'll play through an entire video game, and then I'll be like, oh, I can't wait to see my friend get to this part and see how they reacted. Just like when I watch a video, and then I'm like, oh man, I wonder what this streamer thought about this video. Or like, for example, I watched WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown, and Money in the Bank last night, and the first thing I did in the morning was, man, I wonder what Ali Davis thought about it on Wrestle Talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I wonder what these wrestling creators thought about the pay-per-view. It's just nice to hear other people's thoughts and opinions. It's nice.
I to dispute this argument in his video by explaining that just because there is a market for it doesn't mean it's a good thing. In my opinion, this argument is possibly the most important on this subject, but Dark actually didn't give a strong enough point to argue against the market deciding on this.
But shouldn't the market decide? No, there is a market for every terrible thing you can imagine. The existence of demand for something does not justify meeting that demand through exploitative means.
The primary message behind Dark Viper's video is that React content is objectively bad or objectively immoral, without giving any hint of acknowledging its nuances. I believe it's important to conclude that React content as a concept has subjectively and objectively good or bad sides depending on the context. At the end of the day, we, the consumers, are in charge. We dictate who profits by where we spend our money or our time. Yes, it's never good as consumers to support something that is explicitly illegal or immoral, but this is why I am challenging this idea that React content is just outright bad. I think what Dark Viper AU is saying is ultimately in good faith, and there is a lot of truth in this video. I recommend watching this video as it does have a lot of good points depending on context. Yes, there are a lot of bad actors out there that actually do just steal content without even giving any credit.
Absolutely.
This does exist, and I am all for breaking this culture where possible. But I disagree with the argument that all of it is just plain destructive. I had the privilege of having Asmongold react to the very first video I made, the current state of AAA gaming, about 4 or 5 months ago. Because of this, and Asmongold following up by watching 4 more of my videos, my channel exploded. I even memed him about this.
Pretty, isn't it? Perfectly balanced. It's all.
Subscribers aren't really the driving force behind YouTube's success anymore. The algorithm now prioritizes videos with strong watch time relative to their length. Every time Asmongold has watched one of my videos, thousands of people have popped in to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But then naturally, they click off and go about their day as they should. It only takes a few seconds for them to do this, but in the background, YouTube is tracking how long people are actually watching the video as they visit my channel. When thousands of viewers only stick around for under 10 seconds, YouTube's algorithm starts flagging the video as not worth recommending. At the end of the day, YouTube only cares about one thing: advertising revenue, which comes from watch time. So yes, this is a negative, but in the long run, React content can still be incredibly beneficial. While the initial burst of traffic from a big creator's reaction may not convert into consistent viewership right away, it does something equally important. It puts your content in front of a massive audience that would...
It's really easy. The video goes up for 24 hours. Is it going to hit the algorithm or not? If it is, it's going to stay in there. The creators wait 24 hours before they post their reaction to get some of those views, to add on to those views. If the video's going up, it'll keep going up. If it's going down, you'll get a boost. Then the creator tells you to go like and subscribe. People who like the video enough will do that. Not every viewer will do that, and that's because they didn't like it enough. The ones that will do will go subscribe. It will fuck the watch time. However, if the video is already out of the algorithm, it's not like it was going to get into it, right? And then next time you go live, people who did like it, they will get notified first that you just posted it, increasing every view of your next video of eyes that may have not seen it otherwise. It's obviously a give and take.
Would have otherwise never discovered you. Even if a large percentage of these viewers don't stick around, a small fraction will. Those who genuinely enjoy your content beyond the reaction will come back and watch more of your videos and engage with your channel over time. These are the people who become part of your core audience, the ones who comment regularly, watch your videos, and support your growth. Beyond that, exposure from React content can also boost credibility. When a well-known creator reacts to your work, it signals to their audience that you're someone worth checking out. In my case, having Asmongold react to my videos helped give me credibility as a voice in the gaming space.
I'm gonna be honest, like this guy, he's really cooking with this video. I actually think this is probably one of the best dissections of like the philosophy behind why these things happen in games that like I've seen. This is really good.
This kind of recognition can and has opened doors to collaborations, sponsors, and other opportunities that wouldn't have otherwise been possible. I also think that a potential fix would be a system where YouTube splits revenue from React channels, creating a more collaborative platform. But this is just wishful thinking. Just a quick side.
I would love that. Hey, that would be great. Absolutely. Just rev split it. 100%. 100%. Maybe even like 50-50. You put, this is a reaction video. That's the video I reacted to. Rev split. Absolutely. I think that would be great. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Side note on this, I've recently been seeing people say that Asmongold's React videos are just him nodding or agreeing or raising his eyebrows the whole time.
Asmongold gets involved.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, pretty true. True. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it.
That's right.
The guy that will play a YouTube video in its entirety, occasionally raises eyebrows, and says the word sure a lot, like the person in the video is in the room with him.
Anyone who actually takes a few minutes to look into this would see that this is just not true. Just look at my video side by side, the reactions he made on them. He clearly adds a lot to these conversations. Now, beyond the React content argument, going back to Savior 3.0's video, he then tries to go deeper into the premise that Asmongold is the most nihilistic person he has ever seen.
He doesn't hold much moral values. He seems to basically flip-flop between any type of argument which basically benefits him to his audience. He doesn't have any moral consistency, it seems like, from a lot of his advice and a lot of the stuff that he talks about. It seems Asmongold views values as baseless, and he doesn't hold religion or morality with much regard. He might sometimes communicate the usefulness in the individual and society and benefiting society and all that stuff, but it seems like most of his arguments seem to flip-flop because he is literally living in a tiny little echo chamber of basically a Redditor, addicted gamer who somehow got famous.
There's almost no evidence in his video that he has actually ever watched an Asmongold video, because he even states that Asmongold preaches his lifestyle to his massive audience, which clearly couldn't be further from the truth.
The problem with that is if he doesn't have any educational insights, if he doesn't do any self-development of himself, but he's preaching educational ideas to the masses.
This is a guy who's trying really hard to sound informed and intellectual. And I'm going to have you guys figure this out. I want you to listen to him again.
Doesn't do any self-development of himself.
What did he say, guys?
If he doesn't have any educational insights, if he doesn't do any self-development of himself.
Who else could you do self-development of? You're using these words because you want to try to sound smart, but you got no idea what it is that you're fucking saying. Fucking goofy goober.
But he's preaching educational ideas to the masses. This is very destructive, and it reinforces, nihilistic tendencies to his audience. And a lot of these people are rather down bad.
Asmongold has never once preached his lifestyle to other people. He's just defended his lifestyle to himself. And everybody knows that nobody wants to live like this fucking guy. This guy's a millionaire who lives in a dumpster, okay? And trust me, I have been telling him for years that his life is all types of fucked up. And he got made. Progress is being made. But even Asmon knows that he's fucked up, but he doesn't know what to do. And the reasons why that is, it's none of your fucking business. Stop being weird as fuck about this shit.
I would say. These are people without integrity and morality, and he's reinforcing these ideas to them because he doesn't have any education himself.
Now, to properly dissect what he is saying, yes, Asmongold has definitely shared some nihilistic takes in the past, but I wouldn't say he has fully embraced nihilism in its traditional sense. For those who aren't aware, nihilism is defined as the rejection of all religious and moral principles, in the belief that life is meaningless. Yes, Asmongold has shared his take on how he believes life is meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
I place pretty much no value in principles or morality. I think that these are top-down ideas that are given to you by the elites, and I think that if you look at most people that are in an advantageous position, those people don't follow any of those morals or ideals at all.
But at the same time, he also seems to...
And it's so bad because it's so true. Now, once again, I'm a guy with a lot of morals and things that I believe are right and wrong. And if I could, for example, you guys all know that if I were to just give in and just be a fucking Genshin shill, like the world thought I was destined to be, oh, bro, I would be sitting at a cool 6,000-7,000 viewers playing Genshin every day, collecting buku bucks from Hoyoverse, and I probably could have been able to retire 2 years ago. But I can't do that. I cannot sit there and lie to my audience. Now, a person who didn't have morals easily could have, and to be honest, they're all still doing it right now regardless. Being told, how do you think I should do this video? How do you think I should react? How much will I get paid? Fuck off.
Balance that with a more pragmatic or even absurdist outlook, arguing that if life has no built-in meaning, we can still create our own.
Because it's not like an aimless life. I do what I want to do. So you have goals? I do have some goals. Yeah, I have things that I want to do, right?
But he by no means has ever encouraged or preached at his audience to have the same mindset that he has himself. In fact, there's a lot of evidence on YouTube alone pointing to the contrary.
Nobody should watch my stream and say, I want to be like this animal. Listen, I don't think anybody with a successful life should want to be like me.
Same thing was the way I played Genshin Impact, guys. Guys, spend responsibly. Do not be like me. I am retarded. How many times did I say that shit?
And I really mean that. I genuinely mean that. You don't want to live the way that I live. The way that I live is not some sort of enlightened, in Buddhist nirvana. It is absolute pure degeneracy.
There is this natural tendency that we have as humans to automatically put up a guard against beliefs or worldviews that are either completely unfamiliar to us or contrary to what we ourselves believe. Not everyone is like this, but a lot of us are like this. Nihilism is easy to correlate with historical or fictional figures who have had a negative impact on their society. Some of us might have even experienced personal grief from people with similar worldviews. But this in no way gives ground for automatic hate, nor does it give justification for spreading lies. Now, I do want to ask, please do not go onto Savior's channel to harass him or attack him. He's genuinely trying to convey a message he deeply believes in, and I would say good for him for doing that. We can simply disagree and move on. As Aristotle once wrote, it is a mark of an educated mind to be able to...
But he is a dumbass. I don't know who that guy was, but man, that was a just stupid ass uninformed take.
...entertain a thought without accepting it. This brings me to my next point on why some people dislike Asmongold.
Yeah, by the way, as a content creator, anytime you say don't harass someone, all of your fans are going to be like, oh, yeah, got it, boss. We won't do anything. Fuck you, die, pig, whore! You know it's the truth.
There's a strange tendency, especially among those chronically online, to equate disagreeing with someone to hating them. Asmongold says some pretty crazy unhinged stuff, and he doesn't back down. And we all know people don't like it when others are like this.
America deserved 9/11, dude. I'm saying it.
A good example of this would be the controversies surrounding Asmongold's take on AI and art last year.
Artists' opinions don't matter, because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product.
It's genuinely sad that people seem unable to disagree in a healthy, constructive way. Asmongold doesn't shy away from controversial takes, and some people don't like this. I've gone around many Twitch and YouTube...
That's another thing. Do you know how many updates I could farm right now if I say, I love all trans people and AI art is bad? AKA, go on to Baby No Money's Twitter page and just copy paste every fucking pandering post he possibly does. Like legit, if you want to be big on Twitter, just say you love trans people and say you hate AI art. Right? Guys, we all know it. We all know it. And there's so many motherfuckers just lying about this shit. Not saying that there aren't people who actually believe those, but there's so many people pretending to like those to manipulate an audience and garner new viewers. It's fucking pathetic.
YouTube channels throughout the last year, and I find it fascinating how most channels are easily seen as mini echo chambers. I don't think many help.
Yeah, dude, if I were to make a hit piece on Asmon, bro, I would blow up so hard.
Yeah, dude, the entire time we were at Steak and Eggs, he would make me jerk him off before we did the recording because his dick was so filthy he couldn't touch it. I had to scrape the shingles off his fucking back, and I used the blood from his back for lube. He made me fucking do it, and all of OTK was in on it. They all made me do it.
When people just say, oh yeah, I just don't give a fuck about morals, they be doing crazy ass shit like that, bro. Anything to get ahead, right?
Help dispute these claims, but I can also see
how- the libs made me do it.
How those who don't actually watch Asmongold can point fingers at his channel and say the same thing. But I've actually never seen a content creator who sides against his entire audience live as much as
They're all on the Epstein list, guys. They're all on the Epstein list. Yeah, they're working with Donald Trump. They're covering it up. They're all on there, guys. Man, the OTK, the process of joining it was horrible. The things they made me do.
Asmongold does. He clearly doesn't pander to his audience. The man has even riled me up at times with some of his takes.
Like, the fact that Halo Infinite didn't launch with an official Battle Royale mode is unforgivable.
But I believe this is actually healthy, and I'll explain why later. I came across this video titled The Most Disgusting Man of All Time, Asmongold, by a YouTuber
500,000 views. Oh my god.
Named The Angry Asian. I watched it hoping he'd present a solid argument with some real weight to it. Unfortunately, despite the video being 13 minutes and 38 seconds long, he only spent about 1 minute actually accusing Asmongold of anything substantial.
He genuinely has the most racist and misogynistic takes on gaming and just in general that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Is that whenever I see like a game that comes out and it has, you know, this is feudal Japan and like the main character is a black guy and a girl, I immediately there's like no escapism that this can provide because
because the entire point of the game is to provide immersion of an era that existed and playing through it, but instead they just break all immersion and say, yeah guys, the best samurai in Japan, he's black. And it's like, there was like what, like one? It's like when you play Call of Duty, and they take you back to World War I, and all the soldiers in the Civil War, 50% of them were black, 50% were white, 50% were women, 50% were men. It's like, brother, that's just not what happened.
The entire story is built on the foundation of trying to appeal to a quote modern audience.
And even in this clip, Asmongold makes a valid point.
Yep.
If a game is set in historical feudal Japan, it shouldn't call itself historical.
Absolutely. If it's a fucking game based on history, then keep true to the fucking history. It's really that easy.
While altering history just so the developers can push a political agenda. This guy literally spent the rest of the whole video ranting about Asmongold's living choices and hygiene.
How do people view Asmongold as a respected streamer and they value his opinions on gaming or just any topic in general when this motherfucker dead ass lives in his landfill that he calls a house? Would you give a single shit what a homeless person living under a bridge on a highway has to say to you? More than likely, you wouldn't give a single what he has to say.
Well, the difference is when you're a multi-millionaire and you still live a minimalist, degenerate lifestyle, at least is compelling enough to be like, I wonder why he's doing that.
So why would you care what Asmongold has to say? Because let's be honest here, guys. Those homeless people living under a bridge 1000% are cleaner than this motherfucker. How else do you look
True.
at this motherfucker by not just saying, this dude is nasty as
Substantial hate that comes from a place of genuine critical thinking will always result in real evidence of why there is the hate. If we look at history or even fiction, there are many figures that automatically draw hate out of us, mostly because of at least one fundamental cause, at least one decision that these figures have made that have brought this hate upon themselves, and it is always a decision that has affected other beings. Saying that you hate Asmongold because you think he is gross when his decisions actually don't negatively impact anyone but himself shows me that there is a problem with you more than there is a problem with Asmon. I would understand wanting to show him maybe compassion or sympathy, but this has no grounds for hate. I would completely understand the hate if he had maybe a wife or a child or a pet that he was directly affecting, but he doesn't. Why is it then that
He does have a pet. He has 3 possums and like 10 rats.
so many people throw hate and shame at Asmongold for this? Now let's look at another reason for the hate against Asmongold. This one has no substance, and I know because I genuinely try to find evidence of this. But within some communities, we see people constantly trying to out Asmongold as a fascist, racist, sexist, and transphobe. Almost every argument on this is either completely baseless or just plain false. The closest thing to actual evidence that I can find to support this accusation of racism is Asmongold's controversy around his suspension on Twitch from October last year. Most people already know what happened, but I want to share my view.
I believe he said a culture was inferior because it has genocide baked into it, which, to be completely honest, yeah, I don't think baking genocide into your culture is generally a good thing.
On it so you can understand from my perspective why I believe at the end of the day, Asmongold's reaction to this gained more respect from his core audience than it lost. First off, Asmongold messed up. He said something that was blatantly prejudiced against an entire culture. There is a level of truth from the perspective of extremist religions, but Asmongold didn't say this. Instead, he broad brushstroked his point and called out an entire culture. He messed up, but you know who also believes he really messed up here? Asmongold.
So a couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine, some just general, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there. I said something about it that was disgusting. I said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed by another force, by anything. And I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say.
During the 2-week Twitch suspension Asmongold faced, I couldn't help but find either one of these two extreme views.
I think it was worded poorly, but I don't think cultures can just be outright said, yeah, we're not allowed to critique that, right? I feel like everything's allowed to be talked about.
On the situation all over X. On one side, people were defending Asmongold and saying he was stating facts, and on the other side, we had people calling him racist, fascist, and words I don't even want to repeat here. But one thing that can't be disputed here is the fact that Asmongold actually messed up. He made an awful judgment on what he said, and he faced the consequences. Now, this is where I personally garnered enormous respect for him. Asmongold took responsibility for his actions. He didn't fight against it. In fact, he even showed gratitude for being held to account because he was able to take a back step and see himself becoming someone that he found detestable.
This is what's so crazy about it. I think this has been going on now for like 2 years. I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, rude, nasty, callous, psychopathic version of myself. And a lot of my friends have told me this. My dad has told me this. He said, you've got to chill out. You've got to calm down. I've been like, oh, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. And I've finally had some level of accountability for that. And thank God.
His response to the situation really showed.
I think I myself, to be completely honest, I've becoming pretty incel leaning. But if you understand my past and what I've been through, I think I have a very good reason to be very angry at a lot of people right now. Give me a couple more months, I'll get over it. But I'll be real, guys, I am horrified of women. I am fucking horrified of women.
His true colors. He took the L and he apologized. I then couldn't believe the reaction from some of his own audience when he apologized. Some of them believed Asmongold followed an unwritten golden rule of never apologizing under any circumstances, which is clearly...
I mean, guys, you guys would all agree that I have a very good reason to be horrified of women, yes? Like, I don't think there's anybody who's ever thought, oh, Techie's unjustified in this. I feel like we all know I have a very good reason to be fucking terrified of women. Because, my God, every girl with a link in their bio has been coming at me on Twitter for the past, like, fucking 8 months. It's insane. Anyways.
A complete misinterpretation of his actual stance. Asmongold has always stood by the principle of not apologizing in the context of pandering to people for a level of false peace or tolerance. He has always been against...
By the way, horrified is spelled with a W at the beginning.
Apologizing if you don't believe you've done anything wrong. Apologizing is never a weakness if it's genuine. I believe Asmongold's reaction bettered quite a lot of his audience. People seeing him respond like this challenged them as well. Maybe not enough people actually saw what really happened here, but it was a genuine sign of good character that I wish I saw in other content creators or influencers. This is one of the reasons I still have a lot of love and respect for PewDiePie to this day. One of my favorite words in the world is the word accountable. Humans are extremely fallible and we can have some pretty terrible blind spots in our lives. So any content creator that advocates for accountability is a content creator that I believe is worth following. I don't believe this controversy makes Asmongold a racist. It actually just reaffirms Asmongold as being a genuine fallible dude who can own his faults and advocate for bettering himself. Another reason I like Asmongold is he tends to play devil's advocate against himself. Asmongold has this beautiful ability at times to approach controversial subjects in good faith. It's something I've noticed about him over the years, and it's definitely a quality I hope he never loses. He doesn't always do this, but when he does, I find myself personally challenged. This has naturally encouraged his audience, including me, to have a slightly broader perspective when looking into controversial topics where people usually have an established bias. Take, for instance, a post on X last year from Kelly Lombardi, a global games product marketing manager at Xbox. Given how polarizing the gaming industry has become in recent years, it would be easy to look at her post and label her as an anti-white liberal elitist and move on. If anyone had the prerogative to lean into that narrative, it would be Asmongold. But instead, Asmongold challenged his audience and himself by sharing how he viewed Kelly's post from her perspective.
Am I the person that's going to have the hot take that this isn't really that big of a deal and I don't really find this to be inherently racist? The problem is that when you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And I don't think this one's a nail, guys. I don't. Like, I don't think that this is advocating for like any sort of exclusion. I don't think it's advocating for degradation. I don't think this one is that big of a deal. Am I crazy? And I get how you could perceive this as being bad. I do. And like, I totally see that. But like, I try to interpret things in good faith.
Seeing him do this really struck me at the time, and it pushed me to rethink my own assumptions. It even bettered me as a man in how I approach things critically. Because my original approach to this post was anything but graceful. Like I said, Asmongold doesn't always do this, but he does do this, and it always gets his audience either thinking or actually annoyed. Another great trait that I believe Asmongold has that I personally like is that he stands behind what he believes. Although I sometimes disagree with Asmongold's approach to tackling some of these issues, I really appreciate how he doesn't back down from what he believes in, regardless of how unpopular his opinion is, even live with his audience. Maybe it's pure stubbornness.
Yeah, this is another trait that I have that gets me into so much trouble, it's fucking insane.
But I think it's good because it gets his audience thinking. Something for me that shows either really good character or a complete lack of caring is that despite immense wealth and fame, Asmongold doesn't change. I'm not really going to talk about the subject too much because it could just come from a place of genuinely not caring. But I've seen wealth do some pretty terrible things to some pretty awesome people. And I'm glad Asmongold just stayed true to being himself.
Didn't hire a maid for a multi-million-dollar mansion. He stayed humble for real. 100p on a stack.
It is far too easy to demonize someone by taking what they say out of context or pushing your own bias using their own videos.
And that's why I hate that bastard.
So you could argue that I did the same thing here, but instead of demonizing Asmongold, I did the opposite. I'm not saying that Asmongold is without his faults. I'm just saying it's worth thinking critically about these things for yourself and coming to your own conclusions. I think one of my goals with my YouTube channel is to try and help pull people out of any type of echo chamber they might be a part of. I find myself easily slipping into echo chambers that support my own biases, but I'm always trying to broaden my perspective and look at things a little bit more critically.
The same reason why I always say if you're far left or far right, you're both retarded.
Justified.
There's no way to completely uniformly agree with every ideology that you say.
Reddit, and YouTube, You'll find plenty of posts from people who strongly believe in ideas like DEI, identity politics, or even critical race theory, going after Asmongold simply because he speaks out against these ideas. What's interesting is that a lot of these people don't seem to engage with his actual points or arguments. They just see that he challenges certain progressive ideas and instantly label him as problematic or toxic. It's more about defending their own worldviews and actually considering what he is saying. In reality, his views often seem more about calling out the extremes on both sides rather than attacking any one group.
100%.
But of course, nuance doesn't always fit into the internet's outrage cycle. Now, I do want to add a
It's the same thing
disclaimer
with me
that
and
I don't
OnlyFans girls. Not every OnlyFans girl is a problem. It's just the ones that try to fucking engagement bait on Twitter by pushing false narratives against men. It's fucking terrible.
always agree with everything Asmongold says or does. Politically and philosophically, we have quite a few differing perspectives, especially when it comes to some of our worldviews. But this in no way should ever be a reason for me to spread hate towards him.
And spread
because I
lies
sometimes
just so
disagree
people
with
can see
him,
their
he
tits
has
and pussy.
actually encouraged me to see things from a different perspective, which I appreciate and has actually taught me a lot. It's natural for people to hate people.
I've also never called an OnlyFans girl a whore unless they came at me first and accused me of a crime. Because it's merely self-defense. I've never shit-talked anybody first. I've never done that.
Born with this instinct.
Besides Genocide, and now he's my roommate, and I apologized. And that's it. Oh, and Gotcha Smack, and I apologize because I didn't understand the joke. So, 2 people, to be fair, but we're all good now.
Personally try not to hate anyone myself, but that's because I build my life on my Christian beliefs and worldview, and I also want to honor God with my life. But one thing I don't believe anyone should ever do is spread unnecessary hate towards anyone, especially if it has no substance. I am an advocate of holding individuals or corporations accountable for their actions or behaviors, if there is genuine warranted evidence
They're all
to
bad.
do so.
There's no good ones. They're not your friend. Great fucking video. One of the best videos I've ever fucking seen. Go like, comment, subscribe on this shit. Yo, Pada, if you ever want to talk for a podcast, we should. This was fucking great. I wish I could have reacted harder, but the Xbox Showcase is happening right now. I need to go react to that. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe.